Hey everyone, and welcome. In this explainer, we're going to break down a Band 9 model answer for a classic IELTS topic, unpaid community service. We're going to find out exactly what it takes to get those top marks. So, all of our analysis today comes from a model answer provided by us here at the IELTS Focus. It's a brilliant way to see exactly what a top-scoring essay really looks like in practice. All right, let's just dive right in, shall we? We're going to see how a top score is built, focusing specifically on the powerful language that creates such a compelling argument. Okay, first things first. Before you can even think about writing a great answer, you have to show the examiner that you've perfectly understood the question, and that all starts with mastering the paraphrase. So here's our task. It's a classic problem and solution question, right? You got to notice the key phrases: very few young people, unpaid community service, problems, and best way to solve. Your introduction absolutely has to show the examiner you get these ideas by rephrasing them, in your own words. This is a crucial first step to hitting a high score. Now, this is where it gets really interesting. Take a look at how the model answer paraphrases the question. It's not about finding super complicated synonyms. Notice how very few young people are willing just becomes not very appealing to young people. It's a fantastic example of how using natural, clear language is so much more effective than trying to sound like a walking thesaurus. This is exactly what examiners are looking for. All right, let's move on to that first body paragraph and see how this essay builds its argument. How does it actually describe the negative consequences when young people don't volunteer? So this first paragraph, it just lays out the problem so clearly, so logically. It starts by explaining why community service even exists, which is to take care of the most vulnerable in society. Then it gives us this clear chain of cause and effect. If young people don't volunteer, well, the responsibility falls to older people, and the result, the vulnerable will suffer. The language is just so precise and impactful. Let's break down some of the key phrases that make this paragraph work so well. So, what makes this language so good? Well, it's all about being specific and sophisticated. Instead of a simple phrase like, "it helps poor people," the model answer uses the much more nuanced, "take care of the most vulnerable in society." And instead of "older people have to do it," we get "the responsibility falls to older people." This shows off a way bigger range of vocabulary and a more academic tone, which is exactly what you need for a Band 9. And here's a fantastic word from that paragraph: deteriorate. It just means to become progressively worse. When the essay says public spaces will deteriorate, wow, it paints a really powerful picture of decay and neglect, doesn't it? It's a much stronger choice than just saying get bad, and it shows the examiner you have a strong command of vocabulary. Okay, so we've seen the problem. Now, how does the essay actually tackle the solution? The language needs to make a shift, right? From describing negative effects to proposing positive practical actions. This paragraph explores two different solutions. First, it thinks about making community service compulsory, but it's realistic, acknowledging this would not be easy to implement. Then, it proposes a more successful approach, offering young people the chance to learn useful skills in return for their efforts. This shows a really balanced and well-reasoned argument. Now, let's look at the specific language that makes it so convincing. The language here is all about being practical. Phrases like "make community service compulsory" are super direct and clear. But then it's balanced with realistic points like "it's not be easy to implement." And the benefits it suggests are real, they're tangible, learn useful skills, and improve their employment prospects. This really shows a deep, well-thought-out argument. So, in the conclusion, the essay wraps up the best solution by using the word incentives. This one word perfectly captures that whole idea of giving young people something back for their work, whether it's skills, training, or better job prospects. It's just a really concise and high-level way to express that core idea. So let's pull all of this together. I want you to think of this next slide as your personal toolkit, okay? It's filled with the exact phrases you can adapt and use for your own essays on social issues. This right here is the key takeaway from our whole explainer. Instead of thinking in simple terms, try to use these more nuanced, more precise phrases. This is what's going to elevate your writing from just a good score to a truly great one. So don't just say "help people," say you're helping the most vulnerable in society. You see, that truly demonstrates the difference in thinking that examiners are looking for.
And that brings us to the end. The final question I want to leave you with is this. How can you take these awesome phrases about responsibility, vulnerability, and incentives and apply them to other IELTS topics like, say, public health or education or even crime? The real skill isn't just memorizing words. It's adapting them. Thanks so much for watching.